Good evening, everyone. Good evening to each and every one of you tuned in tonight. Mabwiga Nieho. Greetings, welcome. This is Dangriga Unmuted. Unmuting the truth, demanding change. I want to remind you guys that we're also on YouTube. You could pull up the YouTube link and make it a family affair. Make it an informative family affair. I received some messages over the past couple of hours. Some people messaging me with concerns. With concerns to be careful of how I tread. Tread lightly. Most of you tonight signed on tonight. I assume that you believe what's going to happen tonight is blasting Miss Debbie Jones, blasting Mr. Louis Zabaneh. This is a conversation that I would like to have with all of you, including Miss Debbie Jones, including Mr. Zabaneh. We use this quote, we echo this quote all the time. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expect different result. We use this quote all the time. Insanity, craziness, is doing something over and over and expect different results. Who is Miss Debbie Jones? Who is Mr. Louis Zabaneh? What role does Miss Debbie Jones play in the People's United Party, in Mr. Zabaneh's camp? I want to make myself very clear. Tonight is about having a heart-to-heart conversation with you, the people, as to what we've been facing, as to the challenges we've been going through when it comes to favoritism, when it comes to lack of representation. If we want things to change, we can't do the same thing over and over and over again. Now, before I continue, the title of this show, Has Dangriga Outgrown Its Leaders? Are we seeing more in Dangriga, more of the problems, more of the issues? Are we the ones taking care of these issues hands-on and watch our leaders just stand by? I want to share my experience. The first time I met Mr. Louis Zabaneh along with Miss Debbie Jones, I had messaged Mr. Zabaneh, requested a meeting. He passed me on to I believe, Miss Corona at the time, who was probably his assistant, or I'm not sure what role she played at the time. I messaged Miss Corona. Miss Corona responded. She asked me to show up on Wednesday. Now, this was the first time I ever attend one of those clinic days. I believe Wednesday is his clinic days. First time. Now, I work for myself, so I have to know how my time look, depending on what it is that I commit myself to. So I asked Miss Corona, could you give me a time? And I kept asking this. I didn't receive a response. And mind you, this was long before I ever think about getting to what we call politics. Because quite frankly, I am not a politician, I'm a servant. That's how I was raised, as a servant. So I messaged Miss Corona, and Miss Corona, she, tell me, hey, Wednesday. And I'm trying to get a date, and I keep messaging and I keep messaging. I kept messaging, and no response. I was asking for a time. I remember this vividly. And this is tonight. I not to try be mean or rude or attack anyone. I'm giving this story because I want to put things into perspective. This is not about attacking anyone. So after so many tries, I decided, I just bite the bullet. I'm just gonna go there. I don't know how it turned out. This is at the POP, the blue and white POP building, right on St. Vincent Street. I say, you know what? I just bite the bullet. I go in there just by gamble between 9 and 11. And so I went. I got up front. I introduced. They already knew who I was at the time. I introduced myself, and I was told, yeah, take a seat. You are the 6th in line. Cool. Now, while the person who was on the other side meeting with Mr. Zabaneh, as he is walking out, another individual is walking into the building and said something to Miss Corona, and he just walked in. As soon as that person that was sitting with Mr. Zabaneh walked out, this ballet just walked straight in. So I'm watching this, and I say, all right. And before I continue, I don't lie. I have no reason to lie. So this person gone in and came out, and then the order continue. The next person in line went in, and another person popped through the door. I know these individuals. I saw them. I know their names. I'm very, very, very familiar with them. Pass, whisper at least something to Miss Corona again, and boom, that person just skipped the line and gone. So I said to Miss Corona, this me done the barame, right? And I said to Miss Corona, you know what? I cannot help but to notice that I walk in, you put me in line. I saw these two individuals just pop up for no way, walk right in and skip the line. What is this? And Miss Corona, surprisingly, the look in her face looked surprised. Say, oh, you could have make an appointment. Miss Corona, I tried. I tried. I have the WhatsApp messages still. I don't lie. I have no reason to lie. Tonight is not about bashing anyone, but we have a serious problem in Dangriga that we need to address when it comes to our area representative and his aide. Mr. Louis Zabaneh, this is not an attack on you, my brother. Miss Debbie Jones, respectfully, this is not an attack on you, but we have certain things that we need to iron out and make sure that we're being responsible with our title, with our roles. I want to say to you, Miss Debbie Jones, I want to say to you, Mr. Louis Zabaneh, you are accountable to us. You are obligated to us. We are not obligated to you. I know that neither of you are fond of me. I'm not fond of any one of you as well. The feeling is mutual. However, I can respect you as my area representative. I can respect you, Debbie Jones, as being the aide of Mr. Louis Zabaneh. I have offered myself to work with you. I've reached out to you guys. But it is obvious that we cannot be professional. When I come on air, when I start to talk and I get all animated, people point fingers and say, I'm always angry, always picking up on something. I have been working to be diplomatic with Mr. Louis Zabaneh, and I will continue to do so. I've written you twice, and you haven't responded. And I know for a fact that you've received my emails. I know. And I also know what was said. Dangriga is small, my brother. So, none of we not fond of each other. But one thing I will assume we're both fond of is Dangriga, the people at Dangriga. At least I know, I could speak for myself. I love this town, I love my people, and that is the reason, this is the reason why I do what I do. Family, friends, I'm not here to argue with anyone. I'm not here to bash anyone. I am here to put things into perspective. So I went to that building. Miss Corona said to me, oh, you could have make an appointment. My dear sister, you know, I try reach you. I reach you, question mark, question mark, question mark. You know, respond. I chill, right? I chill myself. This was before I ever think about running up for Area Representative for Dangriga, Uruwei, and Hope Creek. So I stayed there and waited. I'll fast forward. I will spare you guys some of the details. Fast forward, it was my turn. Now, let me explain, if you haven't been in the building, in the PUP building where Mr. Louis Zabaneh meet, where he has his clinic on Wednesdays. That was the first and only time I went into that building. And I must note that the People's United Party, our area representative, is getting money, should be getting money. Make I be careful, should be getting money every month for a building, not at that PUP office. Right? Don't quote me, at least at 1,500. But they continue to use that PUP office. The last time I visited, if this is the dimension of the building, split this in half. When you walk in, there is a wall, one wall between the entire building. It doesn't extend to the other wall, right? So you go around this wall. Now, this wall in the middle that divides the building doesn't reach all the way at the top. There's about maybe 3 feet, más o menos. So when you go around and try to have a meeting or a talk with the area representative, everybody could hear what you say. Unless you really lean forward and start whisper. I am not here to create problems for anyone or with anyone. I just think that Dangriga need to demand better. Now, I went around. Mr. Louis Zabaneh was there in his chair, and Miss Debbie Jones was there standing in a corner. And I got seated, and Mr. Zabaneh looked at me and said, how can I help you? And I said that, well, I'm going to expect if I have a meeting with you privately. And I looked at Miss Debbie Jones. I remember vividly. This is how it went down. I looked at Miss Debbie Jones, and Miss Debbie Jones said, oh, I never may something along those lines. I never may stay here, something to that extent. But she didn't move when she said that. And I still sat there and just held my tongue until Miss Debbie Jones walked out. So she walked out, and I said to Mr. Louis Zabaneh, I was expecting a more private setting. And he leaned forward to me and said, what the private for you? That's when I started losing respect for Mr. Louis Zabaneh. That, Mr. Zabaneh, that was when I started losing respect for you. In all humbleness, Mr. Zabaneh, you were condescending. That is the only reason I am saying this right now, right here, tonight. Wednesday, October 8th. The main reason, the number one reason I put my name on the ballot was because of that very same reason. I vowed to myself that I, Cyril Uruwei, I can talk, I can speak for myself. But I know there are many Dangrigana who can't talk for themselves and we just push their tail in at their leg and just walk away sheepishly. I'm not here to fight with anyone. I'm not here to insult anyone. I'm not here to slander anyone. I am here to speak truth and to try to put things into perspective. It is not my intention to enemy anyone. I have written to Mr. Louis Zabaneh. Now, Mr. Zabaneh, so that was my first Shea Ramos. Let me go to the comments for a bit. Let me now, Shea Ramos, you said, but what is private for you? Debbie stepped out and only you and Mr. Zab was there. So what was private to you? All right, fair question, Shea Ramos. As I mentioned, if this is the dimension of the building, okay, you split this building in half. The wall that divides the building in half doesn't extend all the way to the top, at the top of the ceiling. There's a huge gap, at least the last time I was there. I don't know about today. Also, that wall doesn't extend. In other words, there's no private office. He doesn't, at the time, let me say, at that time, and maybe even today, I don't know. He didn't, there was no door. It's not like I enter his office and he closed the door behind me. There's no privacy. I cannot speak. I wouldn't be able to talk um, um, in a private manner in a setting like that because voice travel. Actually, more than once, I heard what some of the individuals who met with him before me were saying. So that's not privacy, my dear sister. It is not. Now, you know, if for those of you who will comment, I'm asking that let's make this constructive. If you have an experience, I will get to why I feel the way I feel about the whole Miss Debbie Jones and Louis Zabaneh. Let me do a little segue here. I had a conversation with Fia Zabaneh once. And this was a heart-to-heart conversation. And Miss Debbie Jones' name came up. And Faye said to me, okay, Faye said, you know what, Cyril, Miss Debbie That was a good worker, Miss Debbie, that was a hard worker. The problem with Miss Debbie, she's not supposed to be in the front line. She's not supposed to be in the front line. Miss Debbie, ever since Faye Zabaneh told me that, I have been kind to you. I have been respectful to you. Anytime I see you on the street, morning, Miss Jones, and with a smile, and it's not hypocrisy, it's not mockery. Whenever I see you and I'm in close proximity, I acknowledge you. But your response to me is always in a way like you to try find problems. And I believe it's because you expect that I will feel the way how others feel toward you, or how others might behave toward you. You listen to me online and you hear me speak. I know I have said many things about your boss, but I speak truth. I speak truth. I don't want to be your enemy, Miss Jones. I don't want to be your enemy, Mr. Zabaneh. So that was the first time I met Miss Jones and Mr. Zabaneh. Ever since then, I made a conscious effort that if I can do something about this type of behavior, I will. And that is why I put my name on the ballot. That's why I ran up, because I could defend myself. But I know they have so many Dangriga now. We can't speak out for themselves and we can't defend themselves. But before I continue, I want to share what I know, what I believe is the major problem for this. Our problem is not Miss Debbie Jones. Our problem is not Mr. Louis Zabaneh. Now I might be some contradicting. But our problem is us. We. We. We are our problem. How could we give so much power to just few people? How could we give so much power to Miss Debbie Jones and Mr. Zabaneh? If Miss Debbie Jones is not fit for Dangriga, if Miss Debbie Jones is not fit to do the work that she's assigned to do, then we must demand that she be replaced, or we demand that she change her ways. Miss Jones, I believe Faye. I believe Faye Zabaneh. I believe that you're a hard worker. You look like it. I mean, just the way how you carry yourself, you look like you get shit done. Pardon me, French. You really do demonstrate that bulldog worker attitude, really and truly. I don't know you, and you don't know me. But you've been behaving in some ways that is not beneficial for nobody. I'm not here to disrespect you. I'm not here to insult you. I'm not here to get into your private life. You are in the public. You are the one in charge when the area representative is not around. I am willing to accept that. But you have to treat my people better. I am willing to accept you. Respect your role. Be respectful to you when I see you on the street. But you have to treat us better. You have shown me, I have seen from you firsthand your attitude unnecessarily. And I think it's because you expect that I will behave like my fellow brothers and sisters who might give you attitude or say things about you or in front of your face. That is not Cyril Uruwei. Share. I give you the audience, give you the mic again. I got that. Keep in mind, you people from back home complain about everything. If they're to fix that building there, the first you people will say, oh, the building can wait and we need other things. Shay, first and foremost, let's choose the words wisely. Let's not say you people. Let's be respectful one toward another. I welcome any comment. I welcome every comment. But let's be respectful. Let's not address anybody as you people. That is not polite. Another thing, it is true that we oftentimes complain about things rather than give credit to give credit when credit is due. That is true. You know, negative things will always fly first. I get that. I understand. But let me be clear. Let me be clear. This is more than fixing the building. This is more than getting a private office. I am talking about basic essentials. Not only that, I am not even touching on what needs to be done, what needs to be fixed just yet. I am touching on personality. I am touching on attitude. I am touching on the roles as leaders, my dear sister. Now, Stacey D, politicians, I'm not sure if you probably meant need. Politicians need to understand the same people that put them in power, put them out. The people did not want her for town council anymore. Secretaries and associates are some politician downfall. The message will be sent at the poll. Griga is silent. UDP need a strong, viable candidate, and it will be an easy win. And this is what I am saying. This is what I am saying. I'm not sure who you are, Sistrin, but let me keep on track. And I ask you to be respectful to the audience and be respectful to me. I will be respectful to you. This is not about bashing anyone, really and truly. Um, why don't we unwind a bit? Because we tend to get tense when we name get called. Uno not feel, uno not think I know that my name will get called. Uno not think I know that my name will get dissected. Miss Debbie Jones is not our problem. Mr. Louis Zabaneh is not our problem. I know it is some contradicting. We the majority, allow that to happen. If we're not being treated fairly, if we're being disrespected by these individuals, why do we, time after time, do exactly what will put the same people in power and rulers over us? We do the same thing that will put them in power. And then we come back and we complain. So my point, if Miss Debbie Jones is a great worker, like Louis Zabaneh said, but she's not fit to be on the front line, fit to be dealing with people, which seems to be the case, I agree with. I believe, Faye, Miss Debbie Jones, that you're a hard worker, that you get things done. I believe, Faye Zabaneh. You have proven to me, you have proven to many others that being in the front line could be problematic. So what do we do as Dangriga? What do we do? What do we do? Do we just keep complaining about it? Do we just keep bash Miss Debbie Jones? Miss Debbie Jones, they live good. What is the solution? What is the solution? If most of us here in Dangriga, if many of us here in Dangriga feel disrespected by Miss Debbie Jones, what is the solution? What's the solution? Aaron Anderson, we just the start. Griga will rise together. Griga no need leaders. We need mentors. Time to change. Estelle, the leaders and their assistant must remember that they work for the constituents. Everyone who walk in the office looking for the representative has a right to be heard and responded to by the representative in a timely manner. In the same sense, all constituents visiting said office must present themselves with respect for the office and courtesy to the person who is representing the office as long as it is reciprocated. I totally agree. Orville, are you claiming to be expressing the general sentiment of the wider Dangriga community? If so, what evidence can you forward to substantiate this declaration? Fear, question, Mr. Orville Melendres. I appreciate that question. Very good. So, let me be fair in responding to your question. The reason for this show tonight, the reason for this title to address this issue is to come up with solutions, not by Cyril Uruwei only. So what will happen next? What I'm appealing to Mr. Louis Zabaneh, and I will appeal to the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister as well, I will, to please look into this situation. But in addition to that, if we don't see improvement, if we keep getting complaints by Miss Debbie Jones, we will have to start a petition and get signatures of people who have experienced this type of thing. Now, Irville, out of respect for you and your question, because it's a good question, we also have to keep in mind they have a lot of whispers where I can't even put out because people don't want to be politically victimized. I respect your question. It's a fair question. But I can assure you, I could walk from end to end from the cemetery to Russell Chiste. And I could promise you I'll come up with a list of people who are displeased, dissatisfied. I'm not here to bash Miss Debbie Jones. I don't want this to turn into this type of bashing show. This is not what that is about. There is a real problem here in Dangriga. Real problem. And for the record, I have spoken with people who I have high respect and admiration for. I respect Louis Zabaneh. And there are many others who are in positions who I communicate with, Mr. Orville, who express the same sentiments. I will go further to say there are people in Mr. Louis' administration who feels the same. It's the same. You know, Orville, once upon a time, I was angry. And I know I could come across angry on this show. I was really angry because of all the frustration, because of all the disrespect, because of all the people where just they do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And so I entertain a feeling of anger and helplessness at times. But the more I get into this, the more I communicate with people, the more I start to listen to people from the bottom up. And when I say up, all the way up, Mr. Orville, I realized that anger, I realized I had to practice what I preach. I realized I had to practice what I preach. And what is this? People who get angry, it's like drinking poison and expect somebody else to be dead. So I might express myself with passion, but trust me, I passed the anger point. I'm not angry no more. I have gotten to the point where I face myself in the mirror and I face my own people. I can go on record to say either one or the probably only one. 5 fingers might be too many to speak truth to any power or situation out there, even my fellow brothers and sisters, when I see them erring. And not because I want to fight with people. It's because we here in Belize, in Dangriga, we just complacent, like everything just okay. We feel that we have time. So, Erville, we have to point out an issue before we find the solution. I cannot go sit with Miss Debbie Jones because Miss Debbie Jones will not sit with me. I cannot, at this point in time, go sit with Mr. Louis Zabaneh because Mr. Louis Zabaneh will not sit with me. He has said that. I've written to him. And I will write again. Please, let's take politics out of this as best as possible. I am talking about representing Dangriga, being there for Dangriga, fighting for Dangriga. Show that you care for Dangriga. Don't just show up when we know to feel the love, we know to feel the care. It's the same old, where a few minority have it good. And then the majority is just left to suffer. You think that's a mistake? That's not a mistake. If they keep us dependent, we always need help. So why this live? Let me go to the comment. Orville, I hope I answered your question. Macario, if you believe shift is work, Um, you might have to check this question, brother. I don't quite understand. Yadira. This is a fake profile from Debbie Camp. They pay people to respond to others on social media. You know, I have been briefed about this type of thing. I don't know any fake profile. I know it's out there, people do it. But listen, it no matter who asks the question, if anybody want to ask questions and hide behind a different face or profile, that's okay. Ask no questions. Ask the hard questions. It's okay. Tonight is not about fighting with Mr. Louis Zabaneh or fighting with Ms. Debbie Jones. We want to get to the bottom of a crucial issue in Dangriga. What is that issue? We have an area representative, Mr. Louis Zabaneh, who put his aide in charge, who pretty much acts as the area representative. I have no problem with that if that a person you trust and you know is qualified to do the work. But my brother, let's be fair. Please do what is best for the people of Dangriga. I have experienced Miss Debbie Jones personally. Not once, not twice, not three times, many times. And that's because I have been cordial. I've been respectful to Miss Debbie Jones. And Miss Debbie Jones doesn't reciprocate. That's a fact. So please, this is not to call out nobody. This is to find a solution. If we are not happy with the way our area representative is conducting himself, or if we are not happy with the way how his aide is conducting herself, we're not animals. We're not children. We must talk with each other. Miss Debbie, I have been respectful to you. I will say that time and time. Every time I see you, I bid you the time of the day. But you do otherwise. Derek Martinez, good night, Cyril. I believe minister or area representative should have their own office, not a political building. Absolutely. Tyler, the live is buffering. I'm not sure why. Aaron, hold up. I speak it too. I'm afraid for, all right. I need, okay, you're probably responding to someone else. Rahim, a minister's aide is the right hand of a minister. He or she must be capable of carrying out his or her public duties within the line of the minister they represent. Aides must be patient, dedicated, trustworthy, and moreover, all a people person. Some of these aides are just for show and have zero care for the people they represent. You know, family and friends, I wish let me explain this. Because it makes no sense to come on this platform tonight and just attack each other or just find a reason to go against what Cyril Uruwei is saying just because you like this person or just because you are part of this political party. That's why we're not going to press forward. I am here to have a heart-to-heart conversation with anybody. I can assure you, this is our situation where we'll never get, and for those of you who will look at me and say, oh, why you do this, why you're going live, this will never be fixed behind closed doors. Impossible. They will never give attention. Do this behind closed doors. So what we need to do now is to join forces, come together, demand answers, demand solutions. We deserve better. We deserve better. There is no solution until we start to value our voice. Annette Lewis, Debbie Jones is a minister and not Dr. Zab. Bless. Night from beautiful Hopkins Village. Aaron Anderson, in the UDP caretaker convention, people wanted money to vote. I refuse to pay for a vote until we stop that behavior. Our voice will forever be muted. Exactly. 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 And let me say this. Let me say this. This goes to all of us. This goes to all of us. If you are a public figure, please listen to me. And for those, all of you, including those of you who just run for caretaker, if you are a public figure, Mr. Louis Zabaneh is a public figure. Miss Debbie Jones is a public figure. Miss Aaron Anderson, Richard Webster, all of you, all of us. Anyone in the media has the right to point out anything, and we can't tell people how they're supposed to do their job. So we have this issue that whenever we start calling out things or mention somebody's name, we're not supposed to do it. We're supposed to be professional. We're supposed to be, listen, this is the public domain. If you're a public figure, you will be in the public domain. I am in the public domain. You know, many times they try blast me, and whether I lie true, people will always, your name will be called. So, Raheem, closed door discussion or ignorance, unmute the truth. Shay, let me go to you again. Shay Ramos, I wish you would condemn some of the negative comments on your live, like you do with the positive ones, but you just read and ignore them. My dear sister, I am going over. Please, if you see any other comment that you think I am ignoring, please bring it to my attention. Please post it again. Let's not attack each other. That is not what this show is about, my sister. Come on. I am not your enemy. I am not your enemy. I am not your enemy. We have a problem. Let me go to one more comment. Yvette Param. There's no solution to the problem but to let our votes speak. Absolutely. I have not had any personal interaction with either of them, but like you said, the whispers are all over town. Has the minister done anything about it? No. Will he? No. So, you see, I listen, honestly, man, I really don't have time to be bickering and fussing and fighting. I ain't got time for that. My mother went through this. Your mother went through it. We need to stop this behavior, stop the fight for people who know the fight for us. While we are here squabbling, they tear each other apart. They secure our masters. We are maintaining the system that is keeping us down. I don't hate Mr. Louis Zabaneh. I don't hate Miss Debbie Jones. We're not fond of each other. That feeling is mutual. I don't bite my tongue. I don't hold back punches. I don't hide my hand. I don't hate these people. But they are obligated to serve us, and they must serve us with respect They must serve us with integrity. Shay, you kind of throw me off because you haven't given me any kind of positive feedback, and I give you most of it's so ironic that I give you most of the time. I've read your comments for the most part, more than anyone else on this live. Even though you're trying to give pushback, what is the problem, my dear sister? Then you will still accuse me that I don't go and, come on, my dear. I know, I confess, there are times I get animated. That's because I feel what individual tell me the other day, boy, you're too empathetic. I really do feel the struggle for my people, for Dangriga. I walk the streets of Dangriga. I drive wrong, I move wrong. I do, almost every day. I live here. So please, let's be fair. Raheem, no negativity here. If the aide is incompetent, then the people need to know or do something about it, plain and straight. You see, and I'm giving Miss Debbie credit again. Miss Debbie, I believe Faye. I trust Faye. You're a hard worker. You look like you have that demeanor of a hard worker. Honestly, respectfully, you do. But you don't seem to be a frontline person. Frontline meaning to be able to deal with people, how to respect people, value people. I have given you no reason to ignore me. The only reason why you ignore me is because I put myself in this position to fight for justice. That's the only reason. I don't hate any of these individuals. Latrice, Janice, amen. Natasha, he will put out another statement defending her again. You know, yeah, Scarlett. I'm calm. I'm calm. I'm a passionate person. I'm a passionate person. Everything I do with passion, and I just have to remember that that doesn't always help as beneficial as it could be. I speak my mind. I speak the truth. I don't lie. I do not lie. I am not making this up. I have had no less than 4 experiences with you, Miss Debbie. One, when I went to Jetty to check out what was happening there, you instruct the worker, oh, no have to answer he, no answer he. I just to try hold a conversation. And I have it on video. I have it on video. I have proof. The day before election, when we had to meet at the police station, another event. Just the other day at the town hall meeting, I saw you and the other young lady next to you. I just learned that she's your daughter. I was cordial, I was friendly, I was kind to you. But you don't return kindness because I don't know if you're scarred by some of my own people, by Dangrigana, and expect that I just be this type of person where I hate you and show you animosity. No, my dear sister. I heard you're a good worker, but frontline, no, Miss Debbie Jones. Respectfully, no. I am asking you to change your ways. Change your ways. I am asking Dangriga to report these issues. We will take further action, not to fight against you, Because who they do checks and balance? Who they keep people accountable? Who? And everything just go unpunished. We keep treating people, a terrible kind of way. We keep playing favoritism. Nothing goes on. Nothing goes punished. Everything goes unpunished. Nobody is held accountable. I am not here to complain. What I would like, okay, I asked the minister at the town hall meeting. Now, I was just informed that town hall meeting supposed to be held every month according to the town hall act. Some document, I have to read that. But I was told that that's supposed to happen once a month. The meeting hasn't been happening. And I hope that Mr. Zabaneh and Mr. Mariano keep that up. So I asked Dangriga, what are we going to do about this situation of us being underrepresented, poorly represented? What do we do about it? Do we just keep accepting it? Aaron Anderson, honestly, we need to stop appointing people, unqualified people for political favor. People in Griga are in jobs they are not educationally qualified for and are causing us to not grow. Businesses are trying to open and can't get trade license because of unqualified political appointed people. Orville, Annette Lewis, Debbie Jones will never change. And she doesn't have to change, but she will have to change position. It's not an attack. We deserve the best. We deserve the best in Dangriga. And if you all don't think you deserve the best, then I don't know if to tell or no. Orville, the concern has been adequately articulated and emphasized and reiterated for just about an hour or so. Now can we hear some of your suggestions for improvement or change? Because to be honest, it just seems a bit repetitive. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for your comment. Thank you, Orville. As mentioned, this is a heart-to-heart conversation with me and the audience, including yourself. And as you've noticed, I go and I read the comments. I read your comments. I read Shea Ramos's comments. All the comments, even the ones that seem obvious, what side you're on, right? So just bear with the process. If you're tired of hearing the same thing over and over, brother, you're more than, you can sign off. Don't stay. You can sign off. See, it's just a matter of respect. It's a matter of respect. Your comments are welcomed. This is me talking with the people at Dangriga. And this is me asking for solutions, not just for Cyril Uruwei. I've made some suggestions. I am appealing, Orville, to the Area Representative to look into this matter. I am appealing that he respond to the people of Dangriga and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. He insists that Miss Debbie Jones is his aide. Fine. I said it again. Since you talk about repetition and a scratch record, that's why I have to keep repeating. I have no problem with her being in that position. But I demand respect for me and my people. Maybe you could help us with some suggestions as to how we have fixed this problem. Please, Orville, give us some suggestions. You agree. You said concerns has been adequately articulated. Adequately articulated. Thank you. And emphasized and reiterated for just about an hour or so. So please help us. Give us some solutions. What do you say? Soon we'll get a leader about all of us in one. I never said this Cyril Uruwei thing to just come and fix the problem. This is our Dangriga issue. And I had to put it out there for Dangriga to come together and address this issue. Why? My goodness. Like really and truly. Share, I give you audience again. Mr. Cyril, I am not being negative here. I was watching that live at the tongue meeting from out here in America when young lady was sitting in the front and she said something. You got all arrogant and answered rudely. To be a calm man like you said, that was unacceptable coming from you. Shay, thank you again for your comment. I don't know at what point you're referring to that I acted rudely. If I did, I'm not sure if I want to go back and review that video, but if I'm moved to go back and review that video, if you probably send me the timestamp as to when I did that, I will apologize because I'm not too big of a man to apologize. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. And I could come up with so many reasons and excuses for what happened at that town hall, but I will not go there. I could give you 1,000,001 backlash for that, but I will not go there. I'll just leave it at this. If it is true that I behaved in a rude manner, in a disrespectful manner, and I find out, I will apologize. I will. Because you're right. I should try to remain calm. You're absolutely right about that. But just know, when you're in it, it's different from when you're thousands of miles away from it, my dear sister. I appreciate your comment. Estelle, conduct on becoming of a prospective leader or mentor. Listen, folks, let's talk about some solutions because I don't want to keep going into any kind of negative sentiments. This is where I stand, friends, family. This is where I stand, each and every one of you out there tonight on this live. Some of you expected me to come on here and just bash, bash, bash. It is impossible to not point out certain things, certain displeasures. It is impossible. But I'm really not here to bash anyone. I am here to point out the obvious and for us to find a solution. Dangriga, according to the results on March 12th, has voted in Mr. Louis Zabaneh. He is our era representative. He is our era representative. I respect that. I acknowledge that. And I am willing to work with Mr. Zabaneh, even though I know it's not hard for some of you to listen to it. He is not willing to work with me. So, Mr. Orville, Shay, I probably know you by face. I don't know. I can't put name to faces right now. I don't know if we know each other. I don't. But let's understand something here. Dangriga chose, based on the results, whether by votes or not. Dangriga chose Mr. Louis Zabaneh. He is our area representative. To be a representative simply means you speak and act on behalf of the people you represent. To be a representative, it means you speak and act on behalf of the people you represent, my beloved brother and sister. I take that to heart. I take that to heart. Mr. Zabaneh ought to speak and act on behalf of the people of Dangriga, Sarawi, and Hope Creek. And if Miss Debbie Jones is his aide, and if from what I'm understanding, his aide is next in line after him, who take care of business when he's not around, then she must speak and act on behalf of the people that the area representative represents. Where am I erring here? Where do I err? Where do I err? Please let's not make this too political. You don't have to be like that. Let your conscience be your guide. Most of you know Cyril Uruwei. Most of you know me. I'm not a liar. I'm not a hothead. I'm sensitive to injustice. I'm not a politician. I'm a servant. I was born and raised by a servant. My mother, Ignacia Lily Zapata Garcia. She gave her all to this town. Before I even know how to talk or walk, I've been serving. Send me that different elders' house to go rake their yard. Send me to go buy, to go carry bread and bun for Father Seabird, for Nurse Posano, for Matron, for that one day. Carry water for Mr. Lopez. Go to Aunt Dale house. Go to church, go clean up the church every Sunday. Put flowers in at the church. I was born in service. I am not a politician. That's how we were raised at 1279 Lakeland, Dangriga Town. So please, before you try to give me pushback, listen to what I am saying and ask if whatever I am saying is true or false. Mr. Louis Zabaneh, you are the area representative of Dangriga, Sarawi, and Hope Creek. And the last time I checked, I'm a resident of Dangriga. I am in your constituent. Ms. Debbie Jones, likewise to you, my dear sister. I will respect you. I will not disrespect you. I will not show you any sign of hatred, whether in words or in facial gestures. I will respect you. And I ask you to respect me and respect my people, respect the people of Dangriga. That's what this show is about tonight. Brothers and sisters, I will carefully choose what comment I read only because I will not read anything negative. Not toward Mr. Debbie Jones, not toward Mr. Louis Zabaneh. If it's the truth, if it's informative, I'll read it out. Not toward myself. We must fix this problem. It is evidently a problem. Agreed, Estelle. Change starts with us. It's been that way for too long. Jerry Springer style must end. Exactly. I agree. I agree. Orville, yes, solutions, providing you're right. There's always two sides and more to a narrative. I accept that's true. That is true. That is true. That was the essence of the community. Yes, Miss Joyce. Marlon Castillo. What what happens at the Dangriga Area Representative Office is just a reflection of the bigger Belize issue. Absolutely. Absolutely. When we go to the polls, we empower the politicians and give them free rein, and then we get behind social media to complain. Absolutely. The agenda of the politicians is to give it a little time, make it blow over like a lee breeze. Belizeans need to actively agitate for our rights. When we stand together instead of divided by all the labels, blue, red, black, Spanish, then and only then will change come. Absolutely. You couldn't have, I can't add to that. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I am talking about. Marlene Castillo. That's what I'm talking about. So we could talk all we want. We could talk all we want. But are we ready to do the work? Are we ready to be sincere? Are we ready to be sincere? Because quite frankly, tonight there's a whole lot that I could call out. A whole lot. But I'm being general, I'm being vague to some extent, giving a global picture. There's a problem where the people of Dangriga is not being represented fairly and properly. That is a problem. I'm not slandering Mr. Zabaneh. I'm not slandering Ms. Debbie Jones. So, what's the solution? Again, there will be documentation. Ms. Debbie Jones, I personally, I want to give you a chance. I really want to give you a chance. I really hope for the day when I could shake your hand genuinely, genuinely, and say thank you for listening. Thank you. I would like to give you a chance. Give us a chance. Give us a chance. Mr. Louis Zabaneh, give us a chance. If the development you're doing out there, not you, but the people's money, if the development that's happening out there is for us here in Dangriga, communicate with us. Answer the questions we've been asking. Let us know how the people of Dangriga will benefit from that, how we will be the primary beneficiaries of what's happening out there. Simple. Like no dancing around, no kind of being condescending. Just make we vibe, answer questions. Everybody want to eat. Nobody like to be disrespected. So, as I get ready to close out for tonight, what is the point? What is the point of all this? Has Dangriga outgrown its leaders? Who really runs Dangriga? We must organize ourselves. We should not allow anyone to abuse us. Miss Lorraine Veos, Miss Debbie is a hardworking woman, yes, and I believe that's why Dr. Zab have her as his right hand. Mr. Cyril, whatever the problem is, have you ever addressed her about any situation you encounter with her? Very good question again. I gave one example, Lorraine. I gave one example. I don't know if you just signed on or if you've been watching since this live started. When I went to, I have the video. I'll probably share that video next week because looking for it is going to take time. When I went and I approached Miss Debbie Jones, right at the jetty entrance at the jetty area, I said to Miss Jones, I just to try communicate. And Miss Jones looked at me and the other guys that were under her watch. I don't know how to answer. He not tell he nothing. And I was being polite. I don't want to be petty. The other examples I gave, I could have given details as to how they went. I am not lying, Miss Debbie Jones. I don't even want to like just say anything negative about her because I'm trying for us to at least be fair with each other. But I don't know how to answer you, Lorraine, or I guess I did. I am not the only one. There are many, many more. And if we have to go to the extent of getting a petition signed, that's what we will do. And who knows, maybe we might find out that there are not that many people. And then you guys could be right. And then it is what it is. We call a spade a spade. But all I am asking for is fair representation. Is from Miss Debbie Jones and Mr. Louis Zabaneh to do what we are paying them to do, to represent us. I mean no harm. I mean no disrespect. I appreciate each and every one of you who commented tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you who tuned in tonight on Facebook and on YouTube. And I ask you to continue tuning in. This is my last live until I come back. I'm taking a couple weeks off. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a whole lot of work we need to do. And things will not fix itself. We have to do our part. All of us. I just wish, my greatest wish is that we think about our children. I am afraid with all that's happening in our country, I hope that we think about our children, the direction our children, the direction this country is going. If we don't do something today, this and more will be our children's fight. I don't want that. Come on, we can do better. All of us, we can do better. This again is Dangriga Unmuted, unmuting the truth, demanding change. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., starting usually 8:15. Again, this is the last Wednesday until I come back online. It's probably going to be 2 to 3 weeks. I hope that you all have a blessed night. I hope that you didn't just take this segment and as a complaint and picking on Mr. Louis and Miss Debbie Jones. Dangriga deserve better. I will continue to speak out. I will continue to unmute the truth. I will continue to demand change until we see each other again. Aba Iseni. One love. Inebese. Respect.